So hello everyone and welcome back to some more Disco Elysium, and indeed today we are gonna be going and chatting with her, the person we were supposed to be going and talking a long time ago, so better late than never. Shadows on the water, green plants under the calm surface. Your room in the whirling isn't much bigger than this loop, like in the boat. This is worth more than you'll ever earn in all your life. That's okay. That's how it is. Hello, madam. A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets, a silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in greeting.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
She steps closer and holds out her hand over the railing. Shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and gold.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
At least that's what you say.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
Well, thank you, Kim. That's kind of too kind of you. But he opens his notebook.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
She turns to you unfazed. It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful. Yes, well, that's a big thing. Appears. Well, tell me about Wild Pines first. What do you do? What do we do? I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking. So what do they do? The Pines' core competency is logistics, container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. She points to the small dots on the horizon. See those airships there blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. Then to the east towards the harbour, and that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms. Got it. How much money does Wild Pines have? I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. A billion? Encyclopedia, what the heck is a billion? That is big time though. What exactly is a billion? Wow, it's a wow. Well, numbers like that mean nothing to me. Yes, past a certain point numbers begin to seem imaginary, but they are quite real for the 72,000 employees who depend on Wild Pines for their paychecks. A conglomerate the size of Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving and growing, it will die. Then what becomes of the 72,000 families? It is a tremendous responsibility. Where does Wild Pines get all these billions? They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulidian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pime's ship explored the South Seminis and charted Lo Manthang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation and madness have gone into the endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. What does a huge system want with a place like this? Look around. Human aside from being the terminal legal owners, She gives you a little smile. Who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo. Well, true, but still the company, because the workers still work for them. 8% of all cargo in the world, that's quite an endower indeed. Dotgate the 15th, something. I didn't want to say the same thing, but okay. She notes forcefully. There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for. Lest the entire system breaks, every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their job the world over. I am here to assure that doesn't happen. With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone. So what can you tell me about this strike? Everything, she smiles. Right up to, but not including trade secrets. So what is your role in this precisely? I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I am a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return the Wild Pines counteroffer. And how are the talks going? They are not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2.2-meter racist behemoth blocking the gates. Ah, yep. You mean Jean-Luc, my race mentor? He's a great teacher, a man of virtue. It seems like a very bad thing to say, but I want to say it because it's just like, what the heck is she's gonna say about it? Oh, so you have met him. She takes a sip of tea. Has he beguiled you with his inane theories? My colleague has his peculiarities. Let's not go into this particular one just yet. Of course, to each their own. How were the talks going before the lynching? Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived. And when did you first arrive? I arrived 3 weeks ago, she thinks. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM. He looks at his notes. But the strike began in December. So she definitely hasn't been in all of the strike over here. I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Command hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Command despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations. This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike. Heavens, no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union wants significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive. What happened to this command? That's a good question. I guess they just left. Mr. Clare told him to. How did he put it? She pauses to compose herself. Fuck off, midget. Command is short of stature, you see. Okay then. Yes, keep in mind this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. Welp. What are their demands exactly? There are leaflets everywhere and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker a member of the board. Most of the workers probably don't know what that even means. Yep. Wouldn't know what it means. Seems like they have no idea about business, really. In its defense, another said, demand democracy. pretty tame stuff compared to every worker a member of the board. Most of them probably don't know what that means. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in the Martinez terminal. That sounds kind of ridiculous. To get the signature of every single other person. I don't think almost any plans would ever go and actually be done or decided with that, because someone is going to say no, right? So nothing is ever gonna happen. Just so you understand, this is but one of the 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. Yeah, and that's even more ridiculous if we're not just talking about overall this area decisions, but decisions everywhere. That's very strange. The king is king. No, that's going too far, but that is pretty funny, I have to admit. Well, it's a strange request. Certainly, I don't know how that would work out. That's pretty funny. They are having a blast, but how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumptions was that they would prefer a more practical solution. What are you going to do? I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just the opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags, a disastrous situation if there ever was one. The problem there is, of course, that they clearly have been doing something more than just have her in here, considering the person that got lynched was wearing clothing that they should be their hireling, and that's why they got lynched. But getting to the bottom of this completely, what was the job of that guy and all that, now those would be great things, but I don't know if you're getting there. Excuse me, the lieutenant looks up from his notes. From whom did you hear about this lynching? That's a good question. Good job, Kim. Her reply comes quick. I first heard it from the boy at the gates, the one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was called Mi Manana. The scraps at the gate, did you put them there? The scraps? She raises her brow. You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock come to plead for work where the union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least. It's implied she's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion. I can understand that, which sounds good to me. What do you think of Everard? Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interest of the workers first. It does seem a little bit like that, considering that he's even giving a job to the elderly, the guy that we talked last episode. Was it René, his name? So even giving him a job, even though it's a useless job. So there is definitely something positive to him, really. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, vicious coup where you and I have blood. I think it's a mixed bag. He definitely isn't great. By no means is he great. I don't like his interactions with us in the least, but on the other hand, he has given jobs to some people that there's no really actual real jobs there to be. So it's strange. But either I would say one or the two, definitely not this. But He's not that bad. Could be okay. Maybe I should say that I'm not sure which one will get the better response from her. This might get the better response, but it might also be that she will more try to make explain why he is so bad if I say that he's not that bad. So I'll try that. Let's hope it's the case. Well, he's not that bad. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably despotistic, then it's his twin brother Edgar. I remember hearing something about this Edgar. Have you seen him? Nope. Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for the lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Efra does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term's limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. What about the union itself outside the Prater's Glare? The Deputeers Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway, it must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did. I can respect that. She adjusts her hair, or organized lip at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say? She hesitates, looking for the right expression. Or mob, the lieutenant says succinctly. I don't know how to say that. The deputies are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we're forced to cooperate with them. Refreshingly honest, officer, she nods. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. She turns to you. And your opinion, detective. If I may ask, I am curious and talkative person you see, she explains. Would you say the Deputies Union is... That's a good question. Extremely good question. So this is... and because this is such a complicated issue, because I think on the other hand, it's a little bit of both. It's bad, but it can be good in its own ways too. That's, by the way... oh, it's a main menu there. I didn't realize that ever. But okay. I don't think it's effective when considering what it's doing right now. Maybe it used to be effective. This is kinda like there's a lot of people that are in problems because of it. I guess I could say it, but I do... just putting it into a socialist mob seems a bit too much. But at least how it is right now, it doesn't seem that it's doing anything positive. It has done positives. It could do positives, but right now it doesn't seem to be doing that well, so sure, I'll go with this. I'm not sure, though. This is a difficult question, really difficult. A giant lead sucking the life out of Reventshall. Indeed, and a hungry one, she nods. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers. That I understand. They have made compromises before, as I understand. So cool. I'm certain that there's been very reasonable and good things that they have indeed achieved as a result, but if it just always needs to feel that it needs more and more and more and more, then that starts to go a little bit too far, perhaps. One more thing, you said something happened in the elections. Yay, XP. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared. Interesting. Disappeared. Yes. On the last day of the local chapter election, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Some kind of extortion, probably, that would make sense. Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the class. Watch out when you are dealing with them. Him even. Thank you for your concern, Mom. We'll be just fine. I don't know about that, but but okay, that's all I need here. Let's change the topic. Of course, she passes the thermal cup between her gloved hands. How else can I help? I could say that, but I don't know if I want to say it yet. Low down. Well, definitely she does seem smart. These are the very most important questions, of course, but... So you're on a boat? Oh, why? Yes, I am. She looks at the deck under her feet. Green and white sails flutter overhead. Does she have a name? The boat? No, it is called Light 19. Because that is the type of sloop it is. The third, it feels strange, as a beautiful boat deserves a proper name. Shivers. A breeze ripples through the sails and tugs at your hair. Below, the sleek fish-like shape of the hull parts the water. Beneath that, a resounding darkness. You're reminded of something or someone. Cool, but your boat really needs a name. Okay. How about Light 19? Why? She taps on the side of the boat. It makes a hollow sound. Because it was manufactured in Revengeful East by the company called Light, and its hull is 19 paces long. X. How about Dolores? Why Dolores? I don't know, feels pretty. Well, it means nothing to me. I think I'll stick with the factory name, but thank you for your suggestion. Okay, what type of boat is it? It's a pleasure craft, a 19-pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing, though these days I mainly use it for business. Let's see, can I name it something? Sleekfish, Dolores. I just like the name for some reason. Yeah. Alright, how do you like it then? My sloop? I like it a lot. Her lips curl into a wry smile. It's the eel's hips, baby. I guess if I had said eel, something. I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating. Well, yeah. I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? She's looking at the woman, assessing her. But that's what I was hoping, that, like, this could be putting her a little bit off at this point before we go into important questions. Not a lot of people on boats, are there? Of course there are. She looks around. We are on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? There is a pinch of defensiveness in her voice, but it is playful. Wait, we're on an archipelago? Look around. Yes, we are. She raises her brow. We are on Le Calieu. Still, I haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here. I haven't seen anyone else drive a soaped-up Copris Kinema motor carriage either. Ah, you see his drive. Actually, the lieutenant becomes defensive. The motor carriage has been specifically issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the Greater Revachol Industrial Harbor. It's not a toy. Neither is this. The woman pats the cabin's hard top. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands. You have a license for this boat, of course? Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator. Qualified pleasure craft operator? So charming. Where's the damn license? Can I see your license? I just renewed its safety inspection last month. Officers, it is completely seaworthy. In fact, it's taken part in not one but two insolitist regattas, even finished one. What happened the other time? The other time I would have finished the race were it not for an urgent work matter, much like the one I am on now. Alright, fine. That's good enough for me. I won't push it all the time. I'm sure she has the freaking license. Why wouldn't it be? This is a Revachol favor act and all. Anyone can drive a boat. I think I have the handle on the boat thing. Good. She takes a sip of her thermal cup. I wonder. You seem smart. I need someone to give me a lowdown on this reality we're in. This reality, she pulls her hood closer around her neck. The aim is to gain a deeper understanding. Indeed, legendary success. By learning about the world, I hope to learn more about myself. A sort of spiritual quest. Something of ancient Lilmaran origin. There's more than a trace of irony in her voice. Actually, that is not why I need the lowdown. She nods attentively. Yes. The lieutenant takes a step closer to you, rubbing his hands together. There is a stranger reason, isn't it, there? You want me to say a strange reason? Now I'm kind of unsure. Do you want me to say a really strange reason or not? Sure. I guess this is then the best. I don't want to say that I got so drunk. So yeah, by learning about the world. Yeah, spiritual quest sounds like the thing I'm on. You will find him a big fan of the ancient ways. It's part of his condition. Nothing wrong with ancient ways, she says. Our modern ones aren't necessarily better. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can. Not exactly sure what happened there, but... hey, at least I have some possibilities. Impossible one with this, though. Something fundamental. Yeah, not gonna happen. So, alright, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay? Okay, fine, if you say so, Encyclopedia. Where are we? We're in Martinez, baby. Baby? A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, paid no heed. I'm a disco holdover myself, though. She smiles. Aren't we all? Some common ground? She refers to your corresponding ages. And what is Martinez? Martinez is a district of Revachol. She looks around, her green raincoat flapping in the wind. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbor, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the revolution, she shrugs. It has its charm, just not the time of year. You mentioned... Tell me more about Martinez. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. She closes her eyes. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. Boxy shoulders? A brief spike of longing in her upright body, the dots under her eyelids shake. You met some nice boy, mayhaps, back in the day? She opens them. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it, and the artillery did its work. But, okay, really like memories of the old good Revanchol. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets. You were here as a teenager, eh? Yes, I was slumming in it with some girlfriends of mine. We had boats and... She smiles. Don't hold it against me, the boy certainly did not. There is a spark in the air, a live wire hanging in the wind in your hungover neocortex. Then the sea air cools it down. Alright? You mentioned the sea. What sea is this? It's not really a sea. It's the Bay of Revanchol. And the bay feeds into the ocean. Are we near the ocean? Yes, we are on an island in an ocean. The world's largest body of water. The Insulintic. Vast, lukewarm and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight. What's the name of the island? Kallio, as you already know. She looks at the waters. Imagine a pebble, smoothed over pebble amidst the great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperanza. We are in the delta of this river on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary. It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her. And to humanity at large. I wonder, like, I'm kind of confused why there's these two. Like, this is definitely like concluding it, but tell me about another, perhaps even more fundamental aspect of reality. I would be happy to. I guess we could have done that. Well, let's ask the next one. What times are these? These are unimportant times, detective. She puts her finger to her lips and points at you. You and I were born after the dust had settled, 1,000 of seconds too late. Too late for what? For the big time. Her eyes light up. There's a flash of teeth. What's the big time? The revolution, she says. Ha, and what is the revolution I keep hearing about? It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so our species gets together to decide what's next. Who gets shot in the head and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. So who got shot in the head then? Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Aw. This is not clothing. It's a relieved celebration. Relieved celebration. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well one forgets they even existed. Did the communists and the anarchists shoot back? Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. Truly a kerfuffle. It was a kerfuffle, all right. The lieutenant mumbles from behind his notes. Yes, the Insulidian Deluge, they call it. Anyone else got shot in the head on the opposing side? Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head. Or thrown beneath the horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. She shakes her head. Just as well. He wasn't actually the king, just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Krat. Well, I guess smart in the sense that he's actually alive. Smart. Yes, King Elysium had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down. Anyway, Jill got out alive and his nephew Rizal got shot in his place. Him and the tens of thousands of his wonderful fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. Who got the mineral rights then? The liberals got the mineral rights. She looks up to the sky, then inland and the crumbling city. And by mineral rights I mean everything. How did the liberals win it all? They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember? She's one of them, of course. If everyone got shot, who was there to surrender to? The foreign intervention, the coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. Wait, you said that the liberals already took everything. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. She stomps her rubber-booted foot. The ocean, the laws, and the people. Who are the coalition? The coalition of nations. Krat, Mesk, Wespe, Messina, Orange, and Sur-la-Clef, the armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do. There is a bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause. Moralist? The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. Just like me! Status quo! Well, considering my latest thought. They believe in mineral rights and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government. This is their zone of control. They emboldened Elysium with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist. Yeah, true. And also not. If always picking the option that doesn't commit to anything, then hell yes I am, and also not. An almost endearingly moralist standpoint, she paused. It must be hard to take a moderate approach to head shooting in your line of work. Indeed, I would think so. When was this kerfuffle? The turn of the century revolution, she smiles mischievously. Don't answer it, it's a trick question. The revolution began in 02 on the Isola of Krat, though by the end nearly the full world had gotten involved. Who started it? It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zara, the particularly virulent prior disease which the authorities in Krat proved unable to contain. The Masov came along and overthrew the government. What did the Jarat do? It made people overthrow their governments. No way. Indeed, Jarat is a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark. Weird thing that caused this whole thing. Where did it spread from there? From Revachol and Krat? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Masso's government was overthrown in 08 and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. What came next? Why, you and I, officer. She spreads her arms, raincoat flapping in the wind. Our lives in the zone of control. Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Our lives are not the same, though. No doubt, but we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think. What is the zone of control? A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the coalition of nations, and you, of course, the citizen militia. The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill precinct 41. Shattilbrook presses enter. Outside, officers Elboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage. The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revanchol, after the failure of the Suzerain and the Commune. What happened in the rest of the world? Modernity. They developed the marvels of intersolary communication, telematic milieux, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revanchol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade. Wow. 51 minus 8, 43. Wait, you're saying it's been like this for 43 years? Time flies. What have we been doing all this freaking time? The 20th saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. 08 to 19 was simply hell. And after that? The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revanchol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessings. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. Were they? No, it was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easings. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash, an Isola White hangover, you might say. And here we are, she curtsies. Yay, welcome to reality, baby. New skill point. Wow. Task upgraded, get a reality lowdown. Welcome to reality, baby. From the looks of the 50s, haven't been much better for the zone of control. You can see it in her eyes. Days slipping away. You don't seem to be thrilled. I've no right to be dissatisfied, she shakes her head. This shirt is Barbara Moskova. This raincoat is impervious to rain and is guaranteed for 100 years. My daughters will wear it. No, it just... She looks at the crumbling tenements, paint flecking from the stone. Her voice is almost wistful. We could have had so much more, every one of us, if only we'd played it right. So what would you have done differently? Good question. She cranes her neck. What would you have done differently? But I asked first. I asked first. No, her first. Like I was saying, that I've asked first. I asked you, who are you in all this? And I asked you, philosopher detective of the citizen militia. Sad times, but I want I want you to answer. Nope, not killed more. Medical solution sounds okay. Sure, that sounds the best from this. I would have sought a medical solution. Sounds like Zara drove those people mad. A cold creeps up your spine, reaching its tendrils up your neck towards the back of your head. So, quarter of humanity, she calculates, simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion, a complex folding protein, unlive with the technology 50 years ago? Maybe. Probably not possible to change, but with some hygiene, modest social care, and perhaps a little research program. The wind stops and for a moment there's silence. The charge dissipates into the dark water. All is quiet on the Martinis Inlet. There is peace in the heart. Good hygiene, really. A very moderate solution to an extreme problem. It's those sort of half measures that doom the authorities in crowd. When they failed to step up, Masov and his party stepped in. In this particular case, maybe a more robust state response might have been appropriate. Well, again, I don't even know what exactly happened. The lieutenant puts down his notes for a moment. Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM. She turns to him. And what is your official position, Lieutenant? My position, ma'am. My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir. Understandable, she nods. That's enough about the times. They are what they are, who knows, and afterblue may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know? Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer. That is true. I want to know who you are. She hums. She won't maneuver her way out of this one. What are you? I am the vilest of the vile, she says with a sudden flash of teeth. A traitor, a devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra. A liberal! Draw a cross. Wait, what's an ultra? An ultra-liberal. It's a type of liberal from the revolution. It's not the moderate kind. So, she's one of the causes of a lot of killings and all that. I don't understand what's so wild about that. Haven't you heard? She nods pedagogically. I am neither creature of the forbidden swamp. I am the nether creature of the forbidden swamp, one of those who pushed the king under a city wagon and betrayed the revolution. I can see your thought I'd gone extinct. No sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in proud daylight. She looks you in the eye. You're a centrist at heart, a real moralist. Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, do you find me frightening? In her green eyes you see a mixture of truth and self-satire, decades of guilt and pride. I can understand she is prideful of the fact of what she believes in and what they have accomplished, but at the same time guilt about what they have done, because a lot of bad stuff has happened as a result as well. Forgive her. Well, I was planning to. I'm that type of person anyways. But only because you like pearlescent teeth and those light green eyes. I forgive you. I do hope so, she boasts. I hope we are able to remain collegial despite it. Remember, we were partners whether you like to admit it or not. There's blood on my hands, I assure you. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. She turns her gaze to the Delta. This was all our last generation managed. So would you have done something differently? With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery. While a gentle wind sweeps the streets in the rebuilt east, light drizzle washing it clean, light go up and motor carriage circulates the tracks. I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition, not here in the Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta beachheads either, not for my own sake. Then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the fool Isola down rather than let them have it. Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes, an oil fire on the ocean. You're a smart woman. She is still smart, definitely. Perhaps, her earring chime as she nods. My intellectual vanity will be my undoing. You're no dummy yourself. Yay, I'm not that dummy. So am I. Yes. A smart boy getting smarter, one basic term of reality at a time. So you're a patriot? Yes, I suppose I am, but I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here. Seditious talk, ma'am. The lieutenant puts down his notes and gives her a look. So you have daughters? Yes, whatever else I am also a mother and a wife. She closes her eyes, then opens them again. Now, shall we return to reality? I have no idea what that would be, but let's go with the one that we might succeed with. What is... think of something close to you. I failed even though I had a 70% chance. It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you, it's about reality. Aww. Kinda sucks because I have so many points in this and everything. But okay, I guess we can go for this. Because we didn't do this actually. Okay, that's Martinez. What's Revanchol? Revanchol. Revanchol is what you call a city. What kind of city is Revanchol? The great kind. As if it is self-explanatory beyond patriotism, a fact. What makes Revanchol great? History, detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least, our centuries. When was Revanchol built? In the Dolorian century, 380 years ago. That's a long time ago. Okay, so who built the city? The nations of the Occidents, or migrant workers from Semenius and Lilmara, depending on your creed. And why will it resolve history? They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts, ideological conflicts, the stuff of men. Why here? We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the insulitistic ocean, the world's connective tissue. She smiles. It's where the money is. So we're in an unimportant part of an important place. I think it's fair to say so. Martinez is about... She points across the water where the skyscrapers rise. 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world's building. The bottom floor are Insurcom, Coalition Government, Insulidian Mission Command. Look to the sea. Silence, she lowers her hand. Trivial success, the water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There's no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the gold radiating from it. So, a little bit of both, perhaps. So, where are we exactly? Thought gained. Yay. We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately. She watches you closely as you scan the horizon. This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you? That's a good question. Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown. Indeed. This is freaking impossible. I can retry it, but yeah, I'm not gonna succeed. 3% chance is absolutely not gonna succeed, but what is this? Spread your hands. A bird? She tilts her head. A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar region? Am I really that awkward? Of course you are not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. I meant, what is this place here? Ah, she spreads her arms almost as wide. This is the prior of Rue T. Saint Ghislaine, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two, she looks around. What is Rue de Saint Ghislaine, 33A? A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. A new building's patiments after les patiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux, they're old. She looks up the crumbling facade. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall, a real high-rise by the standards of the last century, built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. Who lived in them? Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the canons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat, from a dilapidated balcony, Cindy the Skull gives Joyce the evil eye, red paintbrush held to her throat. Wonderful. Indeed, very wonderful. What is that at that point to Cindy the Skull? The girl in the old lady rags. Yeah. Looks like sullen and rebellious member of teen infraculture. Infraculture? Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd, the music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant. Those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world and infraculture, with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. I understand everything. Make it more complicated somehow. I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. She pauses to take a long, leisurely sip of tea. Alright, what next? Well, we may as well try, but it's not gonna succeed. What is? Reach for something fundamental. Yeah, what a surprise. A strange coldness over you as you look to the world. The waves sway, the sloop slowly, that's all. It's on the tip of your tongue, a doubt of sorts, already in your head, but it's not fully formed yet. You have to wait and return to this later once the Jamai's Wu thought is complete. Ah, okay. That's all for now. Conclude for now. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know, anything else. We've talked so little, yet so much. But okay, that's basically going to the same stuff. So, I'm gonna ask, do you know something about these tattoos? Show her the photo. As the man who was killed. She almost takes the photo, but then stops. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Okay. Why? How is you looking at the photo tied to the lynching? Better not to tie the forestay to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with. She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it. Okay. Interesting. So what can you tell me about this lynching? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something. Very lines crease her forehead. Yay, legendary success. But it's more than worry. In her eyes a hint of... Is that guilt? Yay, more experience. The information I am to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and patch numbers. Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. The lieutenant hands her a piece of blue plastic. I'm Lieutenant Kitsuraki from Precinct 57. He points to you, and this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Du Bois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice. Oh, and what happened to yours, detectives? She returns the lieutenant's badge and turns to you. Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events. Remember when my partner told you I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it. I see. She looks increasingly worried. So you are saying you lost your patch during the course of this episode? I don't want to say I had a freaking drinking thing. I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember anything. This world, this city, nothing. Oh dear. She sighs with compassion, sadness even. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversations. She must have been suspecting something for a while now. As I said, ma'am, the lieutenant interjects, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the Elysium. Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge. Ah. Hang on, she's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. Sympathy for your amnesia. Let's try. Let's hope. This is a red check, so can't be retried, but it's a relatively high chance of success. I just hope it can succeed. How do I negotiate my way out of this? Success! She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuate. Surely there's some other way to demonstrate our law enforcement's credentials. I will be frank with you. She puts down her thermal cup. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible. You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain. Like what? Reports from inside Terminal P suggest it's a hub for the local truck trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason. The company has tried looking into the matter before to no avail. Perhaps someone within your authority and resources might turn over the right stones. Or, she picks the cup back up, you can recover your patch, though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause. Detective, the lieutenant closes his notebook. A word in private before we continue. Excuse us for a moment, madam. My goodness, that was a lot of talking. I think I'll continue the next time because we need to talk to our fellow here. So let us just save. I'll just save into one of these old spots. Why not? And I'll end for today. But definitely interesting stuff. Definitely was good conversations with her, so I hope you enjoyed some more Disco Elysium. Next time we'll continue a little bit more, and we'll see wherever we will continue after that. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you for more next time. So bye bye till then. To be continued with Kira Rusha next time in Disco Elysium. See you all then.